That was ugly in Denver last night. And I'm not just talking about that innards colored court. Got to keep it PC for YouTube. But yeah, that was crazy, right? So I don't think anybody expected the Warriors to beat the Nuggets last night in this cup game in Denver. No Steph Curry. Jimmy Butler questionable for the game. But here's the thing that I was upset about. No Al Horford. I sat here the other day and I defended him in his performance in Sacramento. Like, hey, man, he hasn't, he does look old and, he hasn't got a lot of opportunity. We can't worry about Al yet. Like, give him a month or so. But for him to sit out this one with foot soreness, that raises my level of concern significantly. Like, foot soreness is an old head problem, right? Like, my foot's sore. We don't even know what's wrong with it. No, but that's super alarming to me because I expected to get a kind of a bounce back game from Al where he hit a couple threes and he had a couple good defensive stances on Jokic. And it was like, all right, Al, bounce back. Al, he can't string together. It wasn't even a back-to-back, right? He hasn't even played more than 20 minutes. And so maybe Al Horford is cooked, maybe he is cooked. Maybe he's just a contract at this point, a mid-level contract where, hey, if you want to spin it positively, maybe this forces the Warriors to get active. Where if Al was healthy and just old and slow, the Warriors would be like, well, he's going to be, he'll be there when we need him. He'll get better and they'll just be patient with him. But if he's having a foot problem at 40 years old and he can't get on the floor, then it'll force them to be more active right away with trades. You finally want to dial in that meal plan and start eating healthy. Look, there's a lot of different ways to go about it. But what I've learned is sustainability is the key. And that's where Factor can help a lot of you. It's fresh, never frozen food delivered directly to your doorstep. Your meals are ready in 2 minutes. And here's the thing. They have doubled the size of their menu. There's double the seafood, double the protein options, no refined oils, no refined sugar, just real food. Now, my concept is I like to do a 2-to-1 ratio, protein to carbohydrates. And again, with all these protein options, you've got a variety of things to choose. And I'll use it for a lunch on a busy workday, as well as avoiding ordering from those food apps that charge you an arm and a leg. It's sustained my meal plans. I know what I'm getting, portion control. And so right now, you can head to factor75.com or click the link in the description and use the code AlchemyFB50 for 50% off your first box, plus 1 year of free breakfast. That's factor75.com, code AlchemyFB50 for 50% off your first box and 1 year of free breakfast. And we'll get to that in a minute, but let's talk a little bit about, the dismantling last night in Denver. It wasn't really, they never showed up. They never showed up against this Nuggets team. And this Warriors team right now, they looked like a team that was feeling sorry for themselves because of this schedule, which is brutal. It is brutal. I think, right, the goal is 500 at the end of November. And again, no Steph Curry. But the very first possession, Draymond calls a switch for pods onto Jokic. Now, they didn't end up scoring, but it was unnecessary. And it just was like a broken window theory kind of thing of like, what are you doing? Y'all ain't ready, right? And then JK goes under a screen on Aaron Gordon and he pops a three. It's like, what he did to us last time. And so right from the start, you could tell they weren't focused for this game. And so if you're going to punt, right? And that was what was peculiar to me because that's the second thing that's really concerning. Jimmy Butler. They say lower back soreness. He was questionable for the game. But I've noticed it since the Milwaukee game is when I think I first spotted him grimacing and holding that left shoulder, which kind of he uses as a battering ram at the basket to draw that contact. And shoulders are, they're not to be played with. And he didn't have much elevation on his jumper. He was settling. He didn't want physical contact. And so it's like, if y'all are punting on this game anyway, why send Jimmy out there when he's not healthy, right? And so you thought, all right, maybe the young guys can keep us around. Quentin Post, 6 of 6. He looked good. Trace continues to give some pretty good minutes. But Pods, I've from day one was like, hey, I think he can be a really good third guard. Third guard, right? And I think what they're finding out here in these first stretches of games, and this is year 3 now, that's what he is. He's not a starter. And I think that that's part of the problem with the fan base is there's various reasons, right? But is he's been given a bigger role than he probably needs. And so then he doesn't look as good. He needs to play against second units, right? And he's not. But Kuminga, I think, let's talk about Kuminga here for a second because, I don't think they did a good job of getting him involved in that first half. But, the opportunities within the offense, and it's kind of seeming like JK only thrives in certain matchups, which is cool. It's fine, right? A lot of players are that way. But if you want to be the man, if you want to be a star, like he thinks that he is, you got to be more consistent night to night. And again, they didn't do a great job of consciously getting him the ball in spots where he could go to work, but he wasn't aggressive in that first half. And by the time they started to get him the ball, it was too little too late. But what I'll say about his game is he desperately needs a counter move downhill to that jab cross left move it's basically his only move downhill. He jabs right and then he crosses back left and it's scouted. It works sometimes because he's so athletic, like in transition, but in the half court, everyone is sitting on it. Everyone is sitting on it. I've brought up perhaps a spin move or even just go left and hard cross back right. He needs some sort of counter move to go to the right because the league now, he has moved up the scouting reports. They're sitting on that jab cross left, right? And again, some of you can say system-based opportunity, but right now he's kind of showing to be a matchup guy. In certain matchups, he can give you 20, 25, but the stars, the true stars, it's not matchup based. You know what you're going to get from them night to night, and he's not that, at least yet. And then how about Kerr waiting till the 4 or 5 minute mark in the second quarter to put in Will Richard? Kerr is diabolical. That was pretty diabolical. His buddy continues to really struggle, right? But defensively, again, I didn't expect them to win. I was hoping they would compete and make it at least a competitive game. And the defense, you heard Draymond say then he's failing because the defense, the communication is horrible. They're not communicating. They're going under screens they shouldn't go under. And then they're switching as if they have Andre Iguodala and S-Dot. We're doing way too much switching. We don't have that many switchable defenders right now. I think that that's a huge issue. And I think something that would clean up a lot of that is having a true rim protecting center behind them where they wouldn't have to do all that, right? That brings me to this Klay news. Listen, I warned y'all about this. I think it was that live stream. I was like, let's keep an eye on this here with Klay. This is, he got benched the other day, and then footage comes out yesterday of him picking Meg up at the airport. My boo. Listen, you call me a hater all you want. That's fine. If Klay and Meg run off and are truly in love and live a happy life, I will be truly happy for them. But fellas, if you know, you know. I don't foresee that happening long term, right? It's what I'd be happy if, and it looks like he's in love. That's fine. That's neither here nor there with that. But the benching and just how it's it just feels it doesn't feel like it's going to end well. Both the Meg thing and the end of his career, really, if he stays in this situation. Now, the report comes out yesterday. It's no secret that Nico Harrison in the Mavericks front office will explore what return exists for Klay Thompson before the trade deadline. Now, he's shooting 27%, right? And it looks bad. To be fair to Klay, he notoriously starts seasons cold, right? And then they are running their offense through an 18-year-old power forward. That's not helping anybody. No one's scoring well for the Mavericks, right? What is Klay shooting if he's playing for one of the other Texas teams right now, where he's just spotting up in the corner off KD and Şengün traps or Wemby traps? So I think that matters. But I say all that to say, do we bring Klay home? Would you trade Kuminga for Klay Thompson and Derek Lively Jr.? Klay comes home and gets to retire where he should and humbly takes a reduced role off the bench. And we have a true 7-foot rim protecting center, a young one. Now, I had just said in a podcast the other day, like, hey, Lively looks like he's officially injury prone. Like, that's the gamble. Derek Lively is, when he's on the floor, he's really good. He'd be just what the doctor ordered. A vertical spacer. Think like a better, young, better version of JaVale McGee. Can pop the corner three a little bit, like a great shot blocker, rebounder, high motor. If he's healthy, you're taking that gamble, right? And then for Dallas, they've already got Gafford, they've got Powell, AD, like they've got a lot of bigs, and you get Kuminga where, you know, it's a move for the future in Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg, I think, wants to play at pace. I think they got to play faster. Not necessarily with the ball in his hands all the time, but you add a dynamic wing with Cooper Flagg. It's something to sell the fan base on moving forward with excitement. The other options, you know, you've got PJ Washington there. You've got Daniel Gafford there. Like, is there a move to be made where you bring Klay home, but really the deal is taking Klay's contract and getting another one of their players, a front court player, and it would probably cost Kuminga. Just throwing that out there. I'm not even saying like I'm giving up the Kuminga thing. Like it's, you know, it is what it is right now. He's played better. I think his trade value has increased. And yeah, it wasn't something I was thinking about, but when the news came out and we have a shitty game like last night where there's not a whole lot of basketball to talk about, I thought I would throw out what came to my mind when I saw that headline. They head back for this Pacers matchup Sunday, and then there's this brutal road trip where you imagine Steph will be healthy by then. But I think that, you know, my radars are up with this Al Horford foot thing and Jimmy's shoulder because, you know, we're 10 games into the year and we're falling apart. We're leaking oil. It's a marathon. It is. And they got to survive November. But right now, it feels kind of spooky. I think we can all agree. Anyway, y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend. And as always, hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.